This walkthrough will demonstrate how each guide, advisor or tutor views SelfSmart. The guide logs in through the same screen that each learner does. Once in, the guide will be able to view all of the learners that they are currently supporting. If you've not yet looked at the learner walkthrough, it's advisable to do so now. The learner walkthrough provides more information on how the profiles are taken and the profile subject areas that are analysed. The first page that we can see is the user profile page. This shows a list of all the learners alongside the profile sets. Green icons indicate that the learner has completed that profile, whereas a red cross indicates that they have yet to complete the profile. The green SelfSmart icon will take you through to that particular learner's profile screen. Here you can see the same results as before, covering How do you feel?, which is a measure of their mental health. Know yourself, the learner's emotional intelligence. What do you like to do? The learner's multiple intelligences and preferred learning and employment styles. Recommended jobs that are matched to the learner's profile. Resilience Plus, the learner's ability to bounce back from adversity and to use the learning involved to guide their future decisions and plans. Clicking on the icons will display the learner's results. But where the learner sees only positive information to reinforce their progress, here the guide can view a more explicit interpretation of the learner's results. The reason for this is that while the learner sees information that is positive and encouraging, the centre and the guide need to be aware of the implications of a learner's results. A lower score in some aspects of mental health and emotional intelligence may, for example, suggest that the learner would benefit from being referred on to their doctor, or perhaps to seek more specialised support. As with the learner profile, the guide can now view the relevant personal development plans and can download and print off PDF versions of those plans. This enables the plans to either be used as an individual learning guide or as a lesson plan for a larger group. The guide will also be able to view additional information, shown in bold, that will explain what they may be required to do to support the learner in the exercise. Going back through to the user profile screen, we can now click on the individual distance travelled, the green graph icon. Both the centre and the guide have access to the most recent profile results for each learner. Here we can see the progress of a learner with regards to their mental health, looking at self-esteem, well-being, self-image and coping with stress. The more faded bars being the earlier results and the solid bars being the most recent. SelfSmart tracks the learner over time so that any positive or negative change can be mapped and, if relevant, can be discussed in a one-to-one setting. Distance travelled graphs are available for all profile subjects in SelfSmart through Emotional Intelligence, Multiple Intelligence, Resilience Plus, and of course, How do you feel? The percentage scores are shown across the bottom axis, with their corresponding colour code across the top of the graph. Moving on to the Manage Users tab. Here we can see the list of users associated with this particular guide. We have limited information displayed here, including their name, date of birth, username and password. This screen enables guides to change the learner's password should the learner misplace it or wish to improve the security of their login details. Surnames are shown here for illustration purposes. On SelfSmart, as shown in the next screen, Add Users, we encourage organisations to replace the surname with a client ID. This ensures that the data is kept secure. The client ID can also be used for the username, as is the case with a number of organisations. Alternatively, a different username can be provided. On the Add User screen, there is a certain amount of information required to add a learner. This includes first name, client ID, gender, as the reports are presented with a gender reference, such as he, she, date of birth, and username and password. The remaining information below, postcode, disability, ethnicity, and current activity, are optional fields. Should a centre wish to add many users at one time, the SelfSmart team can facilitate this. Moving on to the License Info tab. This explains how many logins are linked to this guide, how many have been allocated to a learner, and how many remain. A link to request further logins is also shown. Clicking on the last tab, Group Charts, enables centres and guides to view the results of a complete peer group or a specific section of a group. This means that each guide can easily view the information for one or all of their learners. This is a particularly useful feature to see if any individual requires additional support or if it would be beneficial to work on specific areas as a group. We can select the required learners from the left-hand field and add them across into the field on the right. We can then select which profile we would like to graph. In this instance, we'll select How Do You Feel? We can now view the group as a single chart and view how each person contrasts and compares with their peers. We can then click on the key and drill down further into the information to select just one of the profile areas, such as self-esteem. We can now look at the full group with a focus on just one profile subject. As shown on this particular chart, most of the group show a positive score for self-esteem, with just 3 people dropping down into the orange and red zones. We could therefore choose to support these 3 people individually or perhaps as a smaller subgroup. These graphs are available for all profiles across mental health, emotional intelligence, multiple intelligence and Resilience Plus. The graphs are also useful to enable centres and guides to better understand what styles of learning and work would best suit both individuals and groups. Not everyone prefers to learn or work in the same way. SelfSmart shows 10 different learning styles. These are explained in more detail on the learner walkthrough and in the PDFs provided. These graphs highlight which blend of learning and work will suit each person. As you can see from the charts, only 2 of the 11 people shown have a positive score for WordSmart. Therefore, not many people in the group favour linguistic-based learning, such as reading or writing, so other styles could be presented to each person as an alternative that matches their profile and would meet their needs. For example, Body Smart learners would prefer more practical study with a hands-on approach. For more information, please go to www.selfsmart.org or email the SelfSmart team at info@selfsmart.org.